What is up, everybody? We're getting to a close of the passing section of our 3-4 bear defense in this full guide. Now, as always, if you guys want it out sooner, then hit the like goal of 15 likes. Otherwise, it may be a few days before we get back to it. So, with that being said, we're going to go against Split Close Miami. This is also going to transfer over to Split Close Pat, or I think it's like New England Split Close or something like that. Either way, those Split Close are the exact same. I love 3-4 bear against split close. Reason being is if you try to go against 1-4-6 against split close, these two split closes, Miami and New England, you can audible down to I form, to strong formations, and then you can run the ball very easily with a dive or stretch against it. So 1-4-6 is not that good of a defense to run against split close. The ones that I'm going to be running primarily against split close are 3-4 odd, even, and bear. Bear being the primary one, especially if I know that I have them in a passing down. So let's go ahead and get it into 3-4 bear. Again, we're using the Kansas City Chiefs. Reason for it, Chris Jones, X Factor, is like insane with just interior pass rush. He's an absolute animal. And the play that we're going to be using more than anything is pinch Bucco. If you guys are going against a player that likes to run split close Miami, the key is pressure. You have to get pressure home because this crossing route, I want to talk about this really briefly before we get into this stuff with all these plays. PAY shot, the crossing route on the left side is unguardable. Man randomly guards it. Sometimes it'll guard it, sometimes it won't. If there's a speed mismatch, even a shade over top, he'll still get burned. They will get over any kind of flat zones. They will get under any kind of deep zones. There's simply no zone out there that is going to play it consistently. Occasionally you may get soft squats or cloud flats to play this crossing route, but again, that's kind of random, and there's ways that the offensive player can manipulate your flat to hold it down. So I'm going to go ahead and get into PA wash out, and we're going to go into pinch Bucco. Remember, when we're running this defense, you need to have your fastest outside linebackers or fastest linebackers on the outside, both right outside linebacker and your left outside linebacker need to be fast. If that requires you to move around your middle linebackers, move them to the outside, then do so with substitutions. For simplicity's sake, I'm not going to worry about that too much in this guide. That's just an important note to take when you're going to be running this pinch Bucco. You need to have fast linebackers, at least 87 speed for one of them at the bare minimum. 2, that's really going to be your golden ticket right there. So pinch Bucco. So really, it's going to sound cheesy, and this is kind of how Madden 20 is send the crib. Now against split close, you need to identify which one is on the running back. Do not, and let me repeat this, do not user the one that is manned up to this slot receiver. If you're going against a good split close player, that is not going to be a tight end, that is going to be a wide receiver. And if you user him, you're going to have to be primarily responsible for him. So again, do not user the manned up slot receiver. User the guy that is always manned up to the running back. This includes gun bunch. This includes tight offset tight ends, tight flex, and any other kind of compressed formations. Always user the safety manned up to the running back. Now, what we want to do to really help this pressure get home against PAY shot, most times it's going to come through anyways, is either hover or send yourself on a blitz and then just drop back into coverage and cover either the motion slant or the cross route, kind of depending on what the down and distance situation is. So we're going to go ahead and just send it stock, and we'll talk a little bit about coverage right there. You can see bam, scream, nobody open. Now, I didn't set it up exactly how a lot of people like to set it up. This is a popular one that people like to run, is a slant, streak, and then your crossing route over here. Again, the crossing route is the absolute money route, and what they will do, we'll go ahead and press. Always press out of split close. Do not baseline press. Just don't. Always just do a straight up press. Blitz all linebacker, slant D line to outside QB contain. You guys know how it rolls. So right here, again, we need the pressure to go home because this slant route, what they're going to do is they're going to motion route, motion snap them, and then bam, you can see clearly that slant gets wide open, but there's also nobody open to throw to in this situation. Again, send pressure. If you're going against a split close player, you have to send 7. I don't care what down it is, you send 7 unless you anticipate them to audible down to a dive. Send the heat. This is the only way you're really going to be able to effectively counter a split close player and even a gun bunch player, is by sending an insane amount of pressure all the time. Now that's a little bit about PAY shot. Again, if you're running straight man coverage, one that you absolutely have to worry about is this motion slant. That slant will beat man every single time. If you're playing a little bit of zone, then you're gonna have to worry about this crossing route. That crossing route will get open every single time. So now let's talk a little bit about zone coverages with this PAY shot. So first off, you have to understand assignments. You have to be very careful about doing adjustments, and you have to kind of be willing to change them up. If your opponents are noticing this same repetition again and again, like this is something I like to do, is if they're running PAY shot stock, just with a crossing route, streak to slot, and slant B, this is how I'm going to run it. This clop flat will take care of the slant late, and then I'm free to chase down this crossing route. Keep in mind, do not be repetitive. Do not do the same exact thing every single time. If you are going against a good player and they recognize that you're doing the same thing, you're clop flat, clop flat, clop flat, clop flat, clop flat, hard flat, soft squat, clop flat, clop flat, they will notice that and they will bomb you over the top with a simple streak. So this is something I like to do if I notice I'm running PAY shot. For the most part, just like everybody else, streak tight end, slant B, leave X on a crossing route. This is how I'm going to run it, because then I can pass off the slant to the clop flat and I can just focus on this crossing route 100% of the time. No question. Again, they're going to do something like this. They're going to do this exact look. They'll motion them out, and this slant will beat man coverage every single time. So be aware of that. And then just send pressure. Pressure bursts pipes. And in fact, this is the best way to play Madden 20. It's kind of sad. This is the game we play. Bambi's right there. Clop flat passes it off. We can take the crossing route away manually, and he has, again, nobody to throw to. That's just one adjustment. Again, I want to repeat about this classic. I'm going to just spam the same coverage if it's working every single time. Why not? Yeah, that's a good thing to go by. But again, if they notice that you're doing this constant thing, if I can get clop flat out there, then they will find that, and a simple streak will beat you over the top. So be very careful about doing that. I'm going to go ahead. Probably we may not be able to block this blitz. We'll see right here. Maybe you pick it up. But of course, if you do not use that streak, you just gave up a touchdown. So that's kind of one thing I wanted to just mention really briefly. Be willing to change it up. If you want to play man coverage and then maybe you need to guard the slant, then do so. If you want to play a little bit of zone man, then do so. But be sure that you're switching it up constantly. Now, as far as the crossing route goes, the best way to guard it is user or man. Zones don't work against that. Just trust me on this one. If a cloud flop picks it off for you, that's a miracle. Sometimes they'll play it, sometimes they won't. But if you're going against a good split close player, there's very easy ways to pull down that cloud flat. Now with this recent patch, supposedly they changed how it works with the rollouts and all zone assignments, etc. Haven't really tested that yet, but we're just going to run it as if EA didn't patch anything, because realistically that's how they probably run. So now let's talk a little bit about this second play is X drag trail. Pretty basic play that almost everybody's ran into. Again, sending pressure coming out in this pinch Bucco, and what they'll do is just a simple max protect drag with two crossing routes. So two important things we've got to identify here: these crossing routes and this drag. There's several things we got to be worried about, but this crossing route run by Tyreek Hill is a cover 3 beater. So if you think, oh hey, if I just do a press and let's just say I do something like this, I probably would never run the defense like this, then the motion over Travis Kelce or whoever the slot receiver is, you just got beat over the top for a one-play touchdown. Because again, even running the stock with a max protect, if they're on the right position to the right side of the field and have your receivers on the correct side, this is a stock cover 3 beater with a max protect. So be very careful about running a cover 3 shell on this. Also, one thing that's important to note is this drag route. The reason that this play is so difficult to guard is because it's a high-low read and it's near impossible for a user to take all of this away. Essentially what we're going to do against X drag trail is make them throw it quick and decisively. Now what I mean by that is you want to make them under pressure and you want to make sure that your user is on points. If you do not have a good user, this is going to be very hard to bag. One thing I have noticed, and do not rely on this, are cloud flats. Now, the way that cloud flats kind of play with this is sometimes, and this still requires a click on, if you do something like this, have this cloud flat, sometimes it will jump the route ran by Travis Kelce. Again, it's not consistent enough, I would say, to run it every single down. But if you're noticing this working in game, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and run it. Now, if we're going to run it just straight up man coverage, I really strongly recommend doing a shade over the top and a pass commit as well, just in case maybe it happens to be PAY shot, and we can still run the same shell again against PAY shot and X drag trail. One thing to note with this clop that we'll see if it works this time is you will need to click on, because if they do pass lead it straight up, they're going to get over top of a cloud flap. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and drop everybody off into spies, and then I just want to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know what? We'll try usering right here. Probably not gonna do too well on it, but let's see right there. Pass lead up. You can see right there. Bam. That's a pass lead up, and that's what's gonna happen every single time. Now, it's pretty difficult trying to control 2 teams at once, but you may occasionally find that if you're able to click on soon enough, I kind of want to show what's going on right here. You may be lucky enough to get a pick or get a play on the ball animation. So let's snap this ball. You can see right there, the cloud flap, when the ball is thrown, obviously he's going to start chasing it down. If you're to click on early enough and not have to control 2 teams at once, you can find that you can sometimes, again, pick it off because he's still in this general vicinity. He's like, what? That's about 10 yards off the line. And you could potentially pick it off. Now, if you have somebody with acrobat and zoned out, 100% easily pick it off. Now, you see right here, Tyreek Hill, if they're further back, burns his man. Now, this is with a shade over top and a pass commit. This is just simply speed. There's really nothing you can do about that. I don't know, maybe with some sort of patch that they just did without telling us, but pass commit and shade over top just doesn't seem to work as far as when it's a tremendously large difference in speed. So be very careful about that. And of course they could hit this drag on the sideline, but you notice we drop everybody, so we're not sending any kind of pressure whatsoever. So just be careful of several different things: the drag, the deep post, and they'll oftentimes have their fastest wide receiver running this route, and then the short post. This is usually going to be one of their best route runners. So just be very, very, very careful about running this particular shell against X drag trail. If we're looking to try and prevent a cover 3 bomb and then just try to take away this short post, here is my recommendation, and this is very important. Again, we're trying to give them different looks every single time, and this is where we're going to start changing up the user as well. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put Thornhill in a deep half. Again, that's to prevent this cover 3 bomb, and then we're going to put Breland into a cloud flat, trying to get us in the position to be able to pick off that short post ran by Travis Kelce or whoever the slot receiver is. So I'm going to go, I'll make sure I'm on my right controller. We're going to go max protect right here. Again, we're sending pressure, and we're going to change who we are using. Now, as far as the drag is concerned, this is the way that I like to stop a stock X drag trail. Again, remember, if you're going against a good player and they recognize, oh, hey, he's putting a hard flat out there every single time, they're going to streak Tyreek Hill or even Travis Kelce, and you have just given up a one-play touchdown. So this is something that you are absolutely certain that they are not throwing a streak, that they are not throwing PAY shot, that they are not doing anything else but a stock X drag trail with a simple crossing route and a drag. Your responsibility: the post ran by Tyreek Hill. If there is a streak, you have to guard that. There is no question at all. You must guard a streak on that side of the field if you decide to run the shell like this. This is kind of a cover 2, but it is lacking a deep half. So let's go ahead, snap this ball. Be aware of Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill will get passed off into that deep half. The deep half, if you have a zoned out player, we'll be able to play that. We can pass that off to the hard flat, and bam, off to the races we go. Now, if they do throw that deep post, we're going to go ahead and try that right here and do something. I like to move this guy over just to get in position a little bit better. If they do decide to throw that deep post route, again, you can click on, and a zoned out player is definitely going to help a lot right here because as soon as the ball is thrown, they're reacting to it. But click on, and you should oftentimes find yourself being able to make a play. Again, be careful with running this because you are leaving, cloud flat, not soft squat. You are leaving the right side of the field open for a bomb. So you've got to be extremely careful when you're running this kind of shell. So let's go ahead and snap this ball. So we can take away this drag for a brief second, pass it off to the hard flat, and by then you can see right there he's already taken a sack. But even if he throws that deep post, as long as you click on in time, pretty much right as soon as they're winding up, you can make a play on that ball fairly easily. Now, as far as defensive backs are concerned, if you can have high speed safeties, it's going to be really, really helpful. I know the Chiefs, I want to say they have a guy, maybe I'm thinking the Patriots, I always get this mixed up. They have a guy named Jordan Lucas, I believe. We'll double check on that real fast. I want to say he's either, pretty sure he's a free safety. But as we go down, let's see, yep, Jordan Lucas, 91 speed, 6 foot. That's going to be an excellent safety to be able to play just straight up coverage. You can see Thornhill versus Lucas. They're essentially going to be the same thing, but Jordan Lucas has a little bit more speed. It's going to help you cover the field a lot better in situations like this. So just some things you have to be aware of. Some high speed safeties, at least 90 speed, are going to be fantastic for this. If you guys want a budget player, I'll pop it up on the screen right now who I'm using for my salary cap lineup. He's fantastic from 90 speed. He meets the threshold for enforcer as well. Just some things to be aware of. But always be careful of running this particular shell. Again, just because if you keep giving them this same look, they will notice that and they will bomb you over top. If you are worried about getting bombed over top, go ahead and slap him into a deep half, and then I really recommend backing him off completely. Now here as a user, you've got a lot to cover and there's no zone on the right side of the field to pass off to, and this is where this play is really going to become difficult to guard because there's just so much to take away. So essentially what you're trying to do is just bait them into throwing you the post route. So bam, work your way back to the post. You can see right there, we get a sack. I don't know what was going on out there. I don't know what was just happening right there. It's like somebody dropped into a fly or something, but occasionally we'll get a little lucky, and for some reason defenders that you say, hey, I actually want you to blitz, drop into zone coverage. But again, against the max protect, let's do this one more time. Max protect, X drag trail. We still are screaming and we're able to pick up the pressure. Now you notice right there that deep half on the left played that deep post really well and just completely and utterly took it away. Again, they could hit the drag late if they're able to step up in the pocket. Again, I can't control two teams at once. That's impossible for me to do. But they could hit this drag, and if you have an enforcer out there, just punch him in the face and maybe get a fumble out of it. So there's some things to worry about with X drag trail. There's some things to worry about with PA post shot or PAY shot. Realistically, PAY shot, a simple cloud flat, and those guys on man coverage should take care of it for the most part. Just pass off that slant to the cloud flat and then take away that crossing route if you have a deep zone on that side of the field. So now let's go ahead and get back into 3-4 bear. The final one, really, I just want to focus on a lot of the popular plays you're going to run into is going to be a little bit of mesh. This wheel route's really tough, and then Z spot, wide receiver corner. Y out is a cover 3 beater. So for that, I'll just say this real fast. If you guys are running into cover 3 beaters, just deep half that outside third instead of leaving the outside third and play sticks. Just deep half it, and that'll take care of it. If you try playing the sticks against Y out, you're still going to get beat over the top for a 1-play touchdown. So just deep half it, and that'll take care of that. Wide receiver corner, best thing to do is change your coverage into a cover 2 shell. Kind of like how we were doing against X drag trail and leaving the flats on the right side of the field open. And as a user, that's your responsibility. Right receiver corner, you're going to find it's going to be pretty difficult because it attacks the sidelines and it attacks the middle of the field, especially if you go max protect. I run it a little bit differently than what some people do. Z spot is another one. Can be pretty tricky because if they roll out, again, I'm working off the older patch. They just released one today. If they roll out, the corner out's going to go over top of a cloud flat, and same thing as any kind of corners that you've ran into. There's no zone to guard it, so the best thing to do is just user it and kind of give them the look of the one against PAY shot with the cloud flat on the left side of the field. Play the stick so the out route doesn't match with the cloud flat. Let's just I want to talk about Z spot real fast. This is a play you don't see too often, but it is worth mentioning. So this is going to be similar to how we're running the PAY shot defense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send the crib and ideally try and force them into a max protect. So remember, the corner out, this corner out will be man coverage. Tyreek Hill, what I like to do if I expect them to run a cover 2 shell is put Tyreek Hill on an out route to suck down that cloud flat so I can get this corner out over the top, and then I might do something like this. Again, this is kind of just depending on what they're doing on defense. But let's go ahead and snap this ball. I'll put B into cloud flat and just leave A manned up to B. So we're going to go ahead and send the pressure right here. Snap the ball, take away this drag, and you can see right there, by the time he's able to throw that corner out, there's absolutely nobody open. Of course, if you're going against a good player, they could get a chop block and they could try rolling out and throwing that corner out. So just a few things you need to be aware of when running against a split close player. If they're chop blocking you, the best thing to do is put the opposite side linebacker of where they're chop blocking on a spy, and then as soon as they're rolling out, you're pushing in on that right stick. You got to contain them, and that's going to be the biggest thing against any escape artist QB is contain them and force them to stay in the pocket so they can't hit these rollout corners. So a little bit about Z spot right there. Again, that corner out will beat man coverage. You saw right there, it clearly beat his man coverage. We'll go into instant replay and talk a little bit about this pretty briefly. But this Z spot, this corner out ran by the slot receiver right here, you'll see, bam, he beats his man coverage. If we don't have a cloud flat over there, then the cloud flat isn't going to be able to guard that. But you can see right there, comes down, and that's kind of where that corner out is going to get open. So this is kind of where it's important to play a flat on that side, so at least when the man gets beat, he can catch up and then be able to make a play on the ball. Now that's Tyrann Mathieu. I don't really expect him to be able to make too good of a play on the ball, but that's a little bit about Z spot. Again, we're going to be sending pressure. You guys are noticing that's a consistent thing we're doing in split close. You've got to send pressure. You've got to hover. Otherwise, you're going to have a wide open read. Wide receiver corner, I'll talk about this real quick. just cloud flats on both sides of the field, and then try and user the little dig route that's going to be ran by the slot receiver. Mesh, very, very, very difficult to guard. I think this is the hardest play to guard because there's not a route out there, sorry, not a zone out there that will play this wheel route. A quarter flat will not play it. A seam flat will not. Vertical hooks, kind of, but again, there's still a window you can hit. So this is where things are going to be very challenging. And I'm going to go ahead and set up mesh spot how I like to run it. All right, we're ready to go. The big thing we have to worry about is this running back. If you see them motion out whoever that wide receiver is, they're putting them on a flat route or an out route. A flat route will get yards. The best thing I can suggest is put a hard flat out there, but be careful about that because they may be trying to bait you into putting a hard flat out there and then streak you over top. So be very careful. This is usually a situation in where they need short yardage. They're going to be looking for this wheel route, and they kind of expect you to play underneath, have hard flats out there, out route, corner route to take over top, wheel route to take, I don't know what you could consider this, like inside and underneath or something like that. Let's just go ahead and snap the ball real fast. Show you guys what I'm talking about there. Bam, you can see wheel route wide open, as I was saying. Very, very difficult to guard. We're going to go ahead and send the pressure again, but we're going to go ahead and put X into a vertical hook and try using this. Again, it's going to be very difficult, and if you leave this guy manned up and say you were to just send 5, put this guy into a zone or whatever, that wheel route beats man coverage as well. So this is kind of where it's very difficult to be able to defend that, and where they get you where they want. They essentially get you where they want you, is backing off the pressure so they can make a read. So let's go and put X into a flat, motion him out. Let's do something like this because we know there's a corner out that beats man coverage. A is either going to be running an out route or a drag, sometimes a streak as well. So there's just a lot of things you need to be worried about. Usually I'm going to be playing a bend don't break style of defense on this, and so I might do something like this, kind of like it's a funky zone look to it. But let's go ahead and just snap the ball. See how well this vertical hook plays it. Again, be careful because that vertical hook, he's right there. Man gets toasted. We actually get pressure in, which is kind of surprising. But the man got toasted completely. And if we didn't get the pressure home in time, the vertical hook will not match him vertically and stay in his zone because the slant's coming across, the drag's coming across, in route, something short's coming across the field. He plays that instead, and the vertical's gone for a touchdown. So mesh, send pressure, take away their first read is almost always going to be this wheel route. They're going to be looking for the wheel route. If they see a hard flat on the right side and left side of the field, they may try and hit you with a corner route or an out route. Whatever the case may be, their first reads in this particular situation are always going to be the check down. They're going to be check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down. So very important to take away their check downs, get rid of that wheel route. The number one way to get rid of it, guaranteed, is user it. Kind of sucks though because you have to user it, you take away your zone, or you take away whatever kind of things you can cover. Ultimately, be aware of what zones you put on the field, what weaknesses you have on defense, and take away those manually. Be okay with giving up a first and taking away a touchdown. Always be okay with giving up a first down over a touchdown any time of the day. I know this sounds basic, guys, but I can't tell you how many people I've seen that I've played against give up a touchdown just to take away a little 5-yard in route instead. So be very careful about the bigger stuff and let them have the little stuff, because when you get to the 10-yard line or closer, it gets very difficult to score in split close. When you're running split close against a 10-yard or shorter, you're having wheel routes. That's all you're going to be looking for the entire time, are wheel routes 24/7. So with that being said, that's going to take care of this little defensive ebook going against the split close. The next one, I'm not sure if I'm going to go against trip tight end. You really don't see that all too much. I kind of want to keep this focused towards meta formations. If there's anything you guys want me to cover in specific, like formations that you have seen, I could try and make a separate video. It might be a pretty short video going over some things I might do to be able to cover this. I will say this, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, don't use this against 5 wide. Just don't, because there's too much for you to cover as a user, and you only have 4 guys going against 5 receivers. Just do not use this against 5 wide. It's so easy to just hit you in the seams, hit you on these hitches, these out routes, and it's going to be a nightmare to try and guard. So with that being said, guys, that's going to take care of this video. Again, if you want this to come out Monday, Sunday's kind of my day off. If you want this to come out Monday, 15 likes and it will drop the next part Monday. Otherwise, kind of expect it a couple days from now. So I appreciate every single one of you getting closer and closer every day to 1,000 subscribers. That is incredible. So guys, hop into the lab. Let me know in the comment section any formations you want. If you have screenshots of it, maybe you recorded it with your phone or took a picture with your phone, whatever, please hit me up on Twitter with that, and so I can actually know what playbook it's in. If you know the playbook, that's going to be really helpful. Otherwise, it may take me a little bit longer to get through that video, because then I have to figure out what playbook it's in, what formations it's in, and all this other stuff. So it helped me out a lot. If you guys provide either a video clip of it so I can see the formation, or if you know the exact play, tell me the play.